Welcome back to the She Can channel, where we interview women from all over the world on their journeys, their stories, how they got to where they are today. And I'm super excited to be talking to Kate Reardon today, who is a journalist and author. She is the ex-editor of Tatler magazine and the current editor of the Times luxury magazine Luxx. Kate, you also sit on the advisory board of Indu, a teen beauty company, and you have been described as one of the best writers in Britain by the Times. Tell us a bit more about yourself and your current job and how you got there.
Wow. Okay. Hello. Thank you for having me on this. It's super exciting to join you. I currently am editor-in-chief of the Times Luxury, which encompasses Luxx magazine, which is a print title that comes out 5 times a year. But the larger part of my job is editing the luxury vertical on the Times UK website. We have 2 new pieces a day, starting a podcast, a bi-monthly newsletter, 15 videos a month. So we create a huge amount of luxury content for the Times, which all sits in front of the paywall.
So, when did you realize I'm really good at writing? I'm really interested in, lifestyle, fashion, beauty, and how did that lead you to this current position where you do a lot of editing and writing about lots of subjects?
I don't think I've ever thought of myself as a particularly good writer. To be honest, I was crazy about fashion at school. I couldn't believe anybody could have a job in fashion and actually get paid for it. I couldn't believe that was actually a career. I was very, very lucky. My first job was at American Vogue as a fashion assistant, which was very kind of Devil Wears Prada. I was the fat, badly dressed one. They would take bets in front of me on how long I was going to last. But I loved it. I drank the Kool-Aid. I was 19 years old, living in New York, living the dream. I came back to England when I was 21, became fashion director of Tatler, stayed there for 7 years, then became a contributing editor at Vanity Fair. At that period, I also did a kind of Web 2.0 startup, which was super exciting, called Top Tips, which really gave me a kind of an interest in the digital world. It was quite a long time ago now, like 20 years ago. But I was also on the advisory board, the founding advisory board of Net-a-Porter. So that was super exciting as well. After about 10 years at Vanity Fair, I went back to Tatler as editor-in-chief, stayed there again for 7 years, and I'm now at the Times.
Amazing, Kate. What a long career and what an incredible career. So, what is your main motivator, would you say, after so many decades in this industry and going forwards?
Um, I would say 50-50. My motivators are paying the mortgage, got to work. Glad that I have to work. But I would say, rather than a motivator, what I enjoy most about my job is that I find it immensely stimulating. I get to work with incredible people, really thrillingly interesting people, very clever people who kind of expand my mind on a daily basis. I've been doing this for more than 35 years and I'm not bored yet.
That's amazing, yeah. Kate, so what would you say are your top qualities? What do you bring to the table that make you so good?
I think I'm really enthusiastic. I would say that's probably my number one skill or quality is I'm very enthusiastic. And so I tend to sort of hurl myself at things. And I work really hard. I learned how to work. I guess my first job in New York, I'd been a very privileged, lucky English boarding school girl, and I had no work ethic whatsoever. I genuinely believed that the cleverest thing to do was the least possible work. And then my first job at American Vogue, they whipped me into shape and they taught me how to work. And that in itself is a skill. And it's something that served me very well, and I take enormous pleasure in it. I find it, you know, the pleasure you get after a great workout or taking exercise or something, it's very rewarding.
Yeah. What are you most proud of to date?
I mean, right now I am enormously proud to work for the Times of London. It is such an extraordinary title. It stands for so much. Um, you know, you reach these moments in your career when you can't believe that anybody would let you take responsibility for even a tiny part of something so amazing. So that is a great joy. I'm also very proud of having, you know, I'm a single mother of 8-year-old twins, and I have a full-time job, and I haven't fallen over yet. So that I'm really proud of.
Yes, thank you for mentioning that because we as women have many different roles and we need to be proud of all of that. Kate, so what top tips would you give to other women who are looking to you and think that's a real role model? She's been in a career for a very long time and she's done really well. What top tips would you give them?
I think the most important piece of advice would be brave. Now, as women, we quite often would perceive that as being pushy, but my advice is put yourself out there. You know, apply for the positions, pick up the phone, send the email, you know, really put yourself out there, because we tend to be quite reticent and embarrassed to be seen for doing these things. And, you know, 9 times out of 10, it works. So definitely that's the number one. The second is just also be enthusiastic. You know, if you're going for a job, tell the people that you have always loved that company. You're passionate about it. You're so excited by it. You know, people will be flattered, and they will also want to work around that energy. It's if you look at who you choose to marry, or who your family are, or even who your kids are, you know, we spend more of our waking hours with our colleagues, if you're working in an office environment, than anybody. And really, we're all human. We just want to be surrounded by good energy. So if I'm interviewing someone for a position, they walk in and like the room lifts, and you just think, oh yeah, that's going to be nice on a Monday morning or a wet Thursday evening.
Yeah, I love that, Kate. Thank you for these excellent tips. Kate, so what is in store for you? What are your plans, your dreams, if you have any, your goals going forwards?
Um, for me, right now, it's, you know, my age, I'm 55. I've got 8-year-old children. I'm acutely aware that they will be leaving home in about 10 years' time, at which point I will be bereft. So I'm future-proofing myself to still have a career and still be interested and interesting when my children leave the nest, and I have even more time to devote to it.
Yeah, thank you so much, Kate. So, as my last question, who are your role models? Who inspires you and motivates you to keep going and to enjoy what you do so much?
I would say the people at the risk, it sounds a bit icky, but the writers that I get to work with here at the Times, you know, I get to commission the best writers in the English language. You know, they're under contract to the Times. These people are geniuses, but they're also funny. You know, they're clever, but they're not dull. I mean, you know, I can come up with, in my job, I can come up with some ridiculous idea in the bath, you know, and I come in the next day and I say, hey, let's do whatever it is. And then you commission somebody to write it, and it comes back, this idea that you had, which was like a tiny grain of something not very good, and it comes back like a diamond. And that is super exciting.
Thank you so much for talking to us today, Kate, for being such a role model to others, and all the best.
Thank you for inviting me.